Hello and welcome. Today, we're going way beyond what you see in the mirror. We're going to map out the hidden architecture of the human face. We'll uncover the shifting foundations, the dynamic systems that create every single smile and frown, and we'll reveal why understanding this map is, well, absolutely critical.
So what is really happening under your skin? It's not just one single layer. It's this incredible dynamic landscape. You've got everything from the bone scaffolding all the way up to the muscles of expression, and it's all an entire ecosystem working together. So let's start building that map.
We're going to approach this almost like architects, exploring the face layer by layer, starting from the deep foundation and working our way right up to the surface. So let's begin with the very structures that provide its fundamental shape.
Think about it. Any great building needs a solid foundation, right? Well, in the face, that foundation is made of two key materials. You've got the bone, which provides the scaffolding, and then you have the fat, which gives it all the volume and the padding. Now here's something wild. Our facial skeleton isn't static. It's a living structure that's constantly changing throughout our lives. When we're young, it's this really strong, supportive framework. But over time, it actually starts to lose volume. Kind of like a building's scaffolding is slowly shrinking, and that causes the soft tissues it supports to start to descend. And there's a name for this process. It's called bone resorption. It's basically where bone tissue is naturally broken down. In the face, this has really visible effects. The jawline gets softer, the cheekbones lose some of their projection, and even the eye sockets can widen, changing the very foundation of our features. Okay, so sitting on top of that shifting, bony framework is the face's padding. But get this, it's not just one uniform layer of fat. Nope, it's actually a series of distinct, individual compartments. You can almost think of them as these precisely placed pillows that give the face its soft contours. And not all this fat is created equal. The superficial compartments, the ones closer to the skin, they're much more likely to shift and sag over time. But the deep compartments, they are the unsung heroes. They provide this essential structural support, giving our cheeks that youthful projection. So why does this distinction matter so much? Well, because if you try to fix a deep volume problem, say a flattened cheek, by just pumping filler into those superficial layers, you get that puffy, unnatural, overfilled look. The real key is to restore the deep structure, not just fill up the empty space. All right, we have totally covered the static structures. Now let's get dynamic and talk about the engine of expression, our facial muscles. This is the layer that truly animates the face and tells our stories to the world. I mean, really think about it. When you frown, you're not just feeling an emotion, you're activating very specific muscles, like the corrugator supercilii, that literally pull your eyebrows together. Every single expression we make is a highly coordinated muscular event. And this is exactly how those expressions eventually leave their mark. It starts with a muscle contracting, which creates a temporary dynamic line. You do that thousands and thousands of times, and the skin starts to crease along that line. And eventually, that crease just stays put, even when the muscle is at rest, becoming a permanent static wrinkle. So all of these structures, the bone, the fat, the muscle, they're all brought to life by this incredible infrastructure. It's like a power and communication grid, this intricate web of nerves carrying signals and blood vessels supplying oxygen. And that brings us to some pretty critical areas on our map. And this brings us to the most critical part of our journey, because threaded all throughout these layers are some very high-risk areas. We call them danger zones, where a mistake can have really severe consequences. Knowing this map is, frankly, non-negotiable for safety. First up, the glabella. Now that's the small, smooth area right between your eyebrows. It might seem totally harmless, but anatomically speaking, it's one of the highest risk areas on the entire face. So why is it so risky? Because it's a traffic jam of blood vessels, and some of them have a direct connection to the artery that supplies blood to your retina. An accidental injection into one of these vessels can block blood flow, and the primary risk here is as serious as it gets. It can cause blindness. Next, our map takes us to the nasolabial fold. You probably know these as the smile lines that run from the sides of your nose down to the corners of your mouth. The problem here is that the major highway of blood supply to the face, the facial artery, runs right through this area. If you inject into it, you can cause what's called a vascular occlusion, blocking blood flow to all the surrounding skin. The result is something called tissue necrosis, which is the medical term for tissue death. Okay, so after navigating those pretty scary danger zones, how is all this knowledge actually used? Well, it becomes a blueprint. It's a guide that allows practitioners to perform treatments not just effectively, but above all, to do them safely.
And this knowledge directly guides which treatments to use. Dermal fillers aren't just about filling lines. They're strategically injected into specific deep fat pads or right onto the bone to restore that foundational structure. And similarly, botulinum toxin isn't about freezing the face. It's about precisely targeting the specific muscles that are causing those wrinkles in the first place.
It really all comes down to this one core principle: anatomy first, technique second. You can have the most advanced technique in the world, but it's useless and potentially really dangerous without a deep respect for the structures lying underneath. Ultimately, the art and the science of all this isn't about just chasing what's on the surface. It's about respecting and truly understanding the complex, beautiful architecture that's hidden just beneath the skin. So now that you've seen the blueprint beneath the surface, the shifting bones, the compartmentalized fat, the expressive muscles, all of it, will you ever look in the mirror or at any face in quite the same way?